Right, I'm here and welcome back to some more Higurashi When They Cry. Let's continue. It was the first time I'd seen it. It was an expression of righteous anger and turning for those who needed to die. And Mummy? Not her dad? No. That's right, the dad was, stepdad. That's it. So that's why she only really wants her mum back. As she screamed, she jerked the bridge to and fro. She didn't have to do that. I was going to fall anyway.
私はお前なんかには負けないんですのよ。タタリなんかに負けてたまるもんですか。お前になんか絶対に負けない。みんなを奪ったお前に絶対に負けたりなんかしない。サトコ、これだけは聞いてくれ。
I don't know what my face looked like at the time, but it seemed like it was enough to quell Satoko's agitation.
俺のしたことは確かに褒められるものじゃない。いや、いけないことだったかもしれない。だけど、お前に幸せになってほしくってしたことだったんだ。それだけは信じてくれ。こいつ最後の最後でケイチさんのふりを。
Satoko didn't seem to have any more desire to listen to what I had to say, and for that to happen at the very end like this was tragic.
お前に褒められたくてやったわけじゃなかった。お前に幸せになってさえもらえればよかった。俺たちはダメなんだ。お前が笑っていないとダメなんだ。だから俺が消えたら、俺が死ぬことで新しい生活を迎えたなら、きっと笑ってくれ。それだけ約束してくれないか。喋るな。ケイチさんの口調で喋るな。おじを落ちてしま
え。And those were the last words Satoko ever said to me. Those sad, tragic, and altogether unrewarding words. What on earth was I? My desire to make Satoko happy ended up like this. Where did I first go wrong? Maybe murder? That might be a place to look at least. And what was the mistake I made? When did I make it? Was I the crazy one? Or was it in Mizawa? Even after all of this, I thought I wasn't crazy at all. It was this eerie world that was crazy. This world I had accidentally wandered into that one night. Because that fun world, where I never doubted all the crazy times we had as a club would go on forever. It couldn't possibly have transformed into such an abnormal world. That fun world wouldn't have ever ended with this Satoko pushing me to my death. In the end, I was going to be swallowed up by this crazy world and disappear. So, if my theory about the curse being passed on is right, then Satoko would get it next, which fits with her description, I guess. Oh, no, I'd probably already disappeared. And actually, yeah, now that I think about it, after the in the first one, after he kills Renna and Mion, if Renna had the curse beforehand, and it passed on to him, he then scratched out his own neck. So that also sort of fits. Doesn't... I'm just wondering, does some Mion falling count as maybe Kichi killing her? And it passed on to him then? Maybe? Oh well. Probably not going to get answers to those questions. Well, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, no, I'd probably already disappeared. Yes, probably. On the night of Watanagashi. I'm sure that in the world I really belonged to, I had vanished that night, and everyone was worried. It was laughable that I had taken this long to figure out I wasn't around anymore. Oyashiro-sama's curse on the 5th year was Sadako's uncle dying and me disappearing. In the real world, Sadako had already been freed. Then what about... I guess from his perspective, Takano and Tomitake-san's deaths have occurred in the strange world. Maybe my friends are all lamenting my disappearance, and valiantly trying to get back on their feet. And even though they were down to 4 people, the club would reopen, and they would have a good time without me, waiting for the day when I would come back. I'm sorry, everyone. I couldn't come back home, but this is what I wished for. It was my wish for Sadako's smile, and my duty as her Nini. At this point, there will be nobody left to torture you. Because Satoshi and I, it took 2 years, but we succeeded. That annoying, toothy smile of yours, we wanted to see it one more time. That didn't sound like a splash in water. My pain wasn't gentle or merciful. It was a sharp pain, violent, powerful, and ruthless. What little compassion I had receded in the span of a moment. And now, I could die. I could say goodbye to this insane world. Farewell, crazed Hinamizawa. Thanks for giving me the psychic power to kill people whenever I wanted. If you'd still allow it, I'll wish for one last thing. The death of this very world, of this crazed Hinamizawa, so that no one would ever have to find themselves lost here again. That's a bit of a bizarre wish. Does that mean that everyone dies? 3 such notes too. Let's have a look at that. 3 such notes. Oyashiro-sama. Nobody really knows what characters to use to write Oyashiro-sama. Knowing this is hard partly because, depending on the time period, he has been called with various titles with subtle changes to his name, and nobody knows the real one. The only thing all time periods agree on is that the 4 syllables, or yashiro, are always used. There is a theory stating the shrine, or yashiro, dedicated to Oyashiro-sama itself became an object of worship, that people began calling it Yashiro-sama, or Lord Honorable Shrine, but this doesn't make a bit of sense. I don't know whether this is related, but people say the Furude family, the most respected bloodline in terms of worshipping Oyashiro-sama, actually inherited his blood. And in the legend, the Furude family passes down, if for 8 generations in a row, the firstborn child is a girl, the 8th daughter will be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. Well, if they're mentioning this, then it has to be Rika. Probably. If we go by this legend, the characters used for Oyashiro-sama's name should be O for honorable, Ya for 8, and Shi Shiro for a generation. These character assignments are simply something I've thought up. There is no way to verify it. If this is true, then Oishiro-sama would have been named as such under the assumption he would come again. The second coming of an object of worship can be seen in several religions, so this isn't unusual. But a few of these religions call the second coming of their object of worship a day of judgment, or something along those lines, and we must not forget they mean it to be the end of the world. Rika Furude, pampered and loved dearly by the elderly folk of the village. The rumors say she is the 8th generation and Oyashiro-sama. I do not know the family tree of the Furudes, but at least I can confirm that for the past 2 generations, the first child has been a girl. Rika Furude watches over Hinamizawa. If the village were to lose her protection, what would happen? Would peace between man and demon be lost? If a village were to lose her protection, so say she dies, what's about to happen? Oh dear, that doesn't seem good. Although she also died in the second one, so I suppose it can't be too bad, probably. Yeah. Would it once again create a hellish landscape where man-eating demons run rampant? A gruesome feast of the demons, who suddenly remembered how delicious the weak humans were, who could only cry, scream, and run for their lives. What would that look like? Just imagining it is enough to make my heart pound with excitement. Well, we've got time, so let's continue. Oh, waking up, I'm guessing. Maybe not. No, my head was pounding. The sky was bright. It was cold, too. It hurt. Each sensation I felt led to a new and different one awakening. When I came to, I was lying face first on a dry riverbed. A few body parts hurt a lot. The skin over a bunch of my joints was torn, turned blue or red or oozing blood. I could tell it was my bones that were in pain from the agony I felt whenever I moved. I looked up and saw how high the bridge from which I had fallen was. Well, to be fair, it looks taller when you're looking down than when you're looking up. Considering I'd dropped from there, it was a miracle that I could open my eyes again. Okay. Oh, never mind, it is tall, then, I guess. Right next to me was a broken, upside-down car seat, which I guessed some pranksters had brought here. Maybe this thing had been conveniently lying right under me, allowing me to escape instant death. Miraculous. I mean, people have, fallen from, 30,000 feet without a parachute and survived? So, a bridge shouldn't be impossible, at least. Of course, I didn't know whether this miracle was fortunate or unfortunate. I'd failed to die, and now I was still stuck in this insane world. How long had I been unconscious for? The sun was high in the sky, so it looked like only 1 or 2 hours had passed. But my body's sluggishness didn't make it feel at all like so short a time had gone by. Mentally, it felt like I'd been asleep here for a decade. Also, I think, going by my logic with the achievements, this should be the last chapter. The more feeling returned to my body, the more of the pain flooded in. It hurt so much, it would have been better not to have woken up. I needed to get to a doctor. Here, to Coach's clinic. The term Coach's clinic brought memories back one after another. Memories I wished I hadn't recalled. Wait, but I've just a thought here. He's just wished if the village was well, the world in a way was dead. Does that mean that everyone in the village is dead, potentially? Sadako was no longer on the bridge. She would have returned to Hinamizawa by now, and she would put on some clothes, go to the clinic, get a checkup, and report on how crazy I had seemed. The police were waiting for me without a doubt. This time, would they find out for real that I'd killed her uncle and arrest me? Or would they just send me to some mental institution like I thought they might? Still, I didn't care which it was. Please, someone stop all this pain. You can boil me or cook me after that, whatever you want. I began to walk unsteadily, just limping along. I went downstream, then through an animal trail-like path in the woods. I walked haphazardly, searching for a path I knew. Eventually, I finally came across a familiar road and set off towards the clinic. Not to my house, but to the clinic, which had treated me like a lunatic. It was hot and humid. There was no wind, and the air was stagnant. For a while now, I've been smelling the terrible stench of burned eggs, and it made my face scrunch up. And then, at last, I noticed something. I couldn't hear any cicadas. It was the first time I'd heard Hinamizawa be so utterly silent. When I thought back, it seemed like birds always chirped in the morning, cicadas always cried loudly in the afternoon, and Higurashi always rose up in chorus in the evening. Always something to hear. I couldn't hear a single insect. The only thing I could hear was the rustling of the wind brushing the treetops. So in combination with the burned egg smell, gas of some kind was being released. The only thing I could hear was the rustling of wind brushing the treetops. I'd never experienced this sort of quiet before. Even the only sound coming from the trees lacked life somehow. The trees were yellow, and many leaves were spread on the ground, despite it being too early for autumn. Even the weeds that had been growing so persistently at the side of the road yellowed, browned, and lost their vigour. He did wish for the death of the world. Only the sunlight itself was of the June Hinamizawa I knew, and yet it seemed like the seasons had all switched all of a sudden. Looking at the fallen leaves and rotting weeds led me to spot a few small insects turned on their backs. They weren't moving. They were corpses. I looked closer to see insect corpses scattered all around, like a child had collected them as samples and then streamed them about. The stench, what was it? It was terrible, like burned eggs. Combined with all the bug corpses and leaves falling from the trees in summer. Had someone sprayed herbicides or pesticides around here? Even at school, we apparently fumigate. They call it pest disinfection or something, once or twice a year. I hadn't run into anybody, despite how bright it was outside. It was mid-afternoon, and yet it felt like I was sauntering about at midnight. Well, with this smell, nobody would want to be walking around outside. Just what was this, anyway? There was no sound, no noise, not even a breath. Hinamizawa was silent. The school had come to view right after turning this corner, and yet I couldn't hear any commotion at all. None of the shouts or grunts that children always made. It was simply quiet. Just as pretending to ignore the silence had grown intolerable, I saw the school. And finally I heard something. It was the sound of a few trucks. There were a few very tall trucks parked in the schoolyard, idling. About 10 workers in raincoats were unloading things from their trunks. It was hot and humid, even in my casual clothing. I couldn't imagine how unbearable that must have been. And then I remembered. Our school was rented from the Forest Service field office building. That was a bit long, wasn't it? wasn't strange at all for the Forest Service trucks to be doing some kind of work in the schoolyard. Besides, what did forest rangers do anyway? I felt bad for them having to work in such heat. There was such a stench about. They were taking colourful cargo out of a truck and lining it up in the schoolyard. There were containers, fairly large ones, inside multicoloured patchwork bags. Heavy too. They were being carried in pairs. Some kind of biohazard, I'm guessing? They lined them up very neatly, like tuna at a riverside fish market. Several, dozens, hundreds of tuna. Yeah, totally tuna. Were completely filling the fairly wide schoolyard up. I forgot my pain for a little while, captivated by this big forest ranger job I'd never seen before. As I stood there, watching in a daze, the people in raincoats working on the other side noticed me. I'm guessing not raincoats, but hazardous materials? One of them pointed me out and they shouted a few things back and forth. I thought they might yell at me for getting in their way, so I decided to leave post-haste. But then 2 trucks drove up behind me. I stepped aside and they entered the schoolyard. Sheets covered their trunks, but I could tell they were completely full. As they passed, there was an awful smell that made me want to choke. It wasn't the same burned egg smell as before, but an even worse one, like rotten crab meat. Bodies, perhaps? What on earth was it? I'd been enshrouded in one terrible stench after another all day. Then, certain white letters emblazoned on the side of the passing trucks caught my eye. Ground Self-Defense Forces. What? Self-Defense Forces? Like the army? How's the army in the schoolyard?
おい君、どこから入ってきた?
Suddenly, someone slapped me on the shoulders from behind. I turned around, and a canopied SDF jeep was parked there. The SDF person had on a green raincoat and a gas mask like in the movies, carrying a compressed air cylinder. He didn't look normal. There wasn't an inch of exposed skin anywhere.
どこから入ってきた?
When I tried to talk, I stretched a wound on my head. Made the SDF people exchange glances. I couldn't see their faces through the masks, but they seemed surprised.
君はひなみ様の住民か? 住所と名前は言えるか?
一応ここに住んでますけど、名前は前原圭一です。あ、住所は獅子骨市ひなみ沢村。
After seeing me tell them my name and address without hesitation, one of the SDF people watching from the jeep started talking into a radio.
本部、応答願います。本部、応答願います。402生存者発見。
402 survivor. What's 402 about, I wonder?
繰り返す。402生存者発見。
Oh, code 402, we found a survivor. Okay.
場所は営林署入り口前。
This is space, we copy. Secure the survivor at once. What is his status?
生存者は健在。
Yeah, healthy, just some blood coming out from all over his body, bruises everywhere.
全身に外傷を認められるも、生命に支障なし。
As I was saying.
自立歩行可能。これより保護し、本部へ送致します。
I was prepared to go along with the police, but the SDF? I couldn't help but think it seemed a little bit much. They urged me into the back of the jeep, and then they told me to put on this gigantic gas mask. I did so, and one of the troops fiddled around with it, strapping it tightly to me. It was heavy, hard to see out of, hot, and difficult to breathe. Just looking at the world through the lenses made it lose its sense of reality. My breathing sounded like some giant monster through the mask. At this point, I had no idea what was happening. With much trepidation, I asked the trooper adjusting my mask.
すみません。何かあったんですか?
君はどこにいたんだ? 何をしていたんだ?
Hey, don't answer a question with more questions. I was the one asking you.
ずっと山に入ったところにある吊り橋から落っこちて、 河原で多分気絶してました。今日が何曜日かもよくわからないです。
今日は昭和58年の6月22日水曜日だ。
Okay, so I think we were on Tuesday before because it was the second day after the festival, and the festival's on this Sunday. That surprised me. Sadako pushed me off the bridge on Tuesday the 21st. That meant I'd been asleep on that riverbed for an entire day.
改めて聞きますけど、何があったんですか？なんで自衛隊が来てるんです？何かの訓練ですか？
Had my question been that difficult for him? None of the troopers would answer me. The one in the driver's seat, talking on his own radio, turned on the vehicles. He turned the dial and some broadcast station or another came in. I started to listen to the voice of the radio announcer I was familiar with.
より首相官邸で行われました。記者団からの自衛隊の災害出動が迅速に行われなかったことが前例のない未曾有の大災害に直結したのではないかとの質問に対し、奥野官房長官は次のようにコメントしました。
でありまして、県知事からの派遣要請を受けて迅速に対応したものと思っております。
と、このように述べ、要請を受けてからの自衛隊の出動は迅速であった。むしろ県側の事態把握に遅れがあった可能性を示唆しました。そもそも自衛隊の派遣を要請した県知事は、災害発生から前例のない大災害であることをいつ認識できたのか、そして災害派遣要請までにいわゆるお役所的なロスタイムが生じ、被害の拡大を招いたのではないか。今後の首相官邸より報道部の尾形記者がお送りしました。さて、ここでもう一度災害発生からの行政の対応を振り返ります。
In the middle of the night, between June 21st and June 22nd, a large-scale disaster broke out in Hinamizawa village, Shishibone. The details have not yet been investigated, but there was an eruption of volcanic gas from somewhere in the Hinamizawa area. The gas was relatively heavy, and as it spewed out, it began to flow. In that case, why was he in the riverbed unaffected? Oh well. I suppose if he was higher up in a different river, but that flow went down along a small river and headed directly into the Hinamizawa village. After a few hours, it had covered the entire region. It happened in the middle of the night, 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. Every home and household in the village was afflicted. With most of the residents asleep, it is thought that all died without noticing the crisis. The catastrophe striking in the middle of the night caused its detection to come too late. There was still one small opportunity to have noticed it. 3 a.m. A news dealer's shop in Okinomiya sent a vehicle carrying the morning newspaper to its branch office in Hinamizawa. Usually the store would be contacted upon the vehicle's arrival, but this morning that didn't happen. The news dealer's shop made repeated calls, but got no response. The shopkeeper sent his eldest son to check on things, but they lost contact with him as well.
非常に悔やまれています。この時点で警察か消防への連絡があったなら、事態はもっと改善されていた可能性が高いでしょう。少なくとも村全滅という惨劇は免れた可能性があります。
6 a.m. Residents in areas of the same region became continuously calling 119 to report the smell of rotten eggs, dizziness, nausea and headaches. The fire department received the same reports, all from the same confined region. They speculated a truck loaded with chemicals may have gotten into an accident and reported it to the local police. 6:30 a.m. Contact was lost with a patrol car on duty in the Hinamizawa area after the officer reported the smell of rotten eggs. The local police considered the possibility of a large-scale disaster involving highly lethal gas and reported it to the prefecture and prefectural police at 7:15 a.m. 8 a.m. The governor was travelling to nearby prefectures for inspection, so in accordance with regulations, the prefectural environmental disaster prevention chief was provisionally escalated to the Director General and set up a disaster countermeasures office. However, without contacting the governor, countermeasures came too late.
近年市民団体によって指摘されていますが、議員待遇者との視察旅行は完全に親睦を目的にしたもので、主演三昧だと噂されています。近い筋の話では、知事は徹夜で飲んだくれて泥酔状態で就寝していたそうです。環境部長から電話があった時も泥酔していて、全く取り合ってもらえなかったのだそうです。
And so it took about an hour for the governor to sober up, gain an understanding of the situation, and gather
知事
information.
は言うに及びませんが、知事不在時には本部長を務めることになる環境部長にも怠慢の責任が問われるでしょう。また県としても大災害を想定したマニュアルが用意されておらず、対応が常に後手に回ってしまったのが致命的でした。
Hello, this is Future Me talking right now. I'm putting in a split in here so that it doesn't end up being an hour-long video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know any feedback you have in the comments. And until next time, see ya!